Hi, I'm Sabrine, and I'm going to give you a quick overview of a fashion technology company that I've been working on actually for the last couple of years. It's a virtual bespoke tailoring platform. So basically, it lets you design the outfit of your dreams online and then get that outfit in real life. Um, what I'm working on is a pretty significant reimagining of the fashion industry. I would say fashion today is a lot like how entertainment used to be, which was pretty one directional. So think TV. Most people just watched TV. They weren't at all involved in the production of TV episodes or movies because it was hard to do it. But now, with better creator tools, much more easy and accessible creator tools, for example, like Canva and TikTok, people are not only watching a lot of entertainment, but they're making it too, and it's a lot more democratic than it used to be. Similarly, fashion industry, I think, is sort of back where TV used to be, where people just kind of buy what's available to them. They're not participants in the creation of fashion designs. I know a lot of people out there have very fun ideas, very imaginative and creative ideas for apparel design and ways to really express themselves, but there are no good creator tools for fashion that are as accessible as, say, Canva or TikTok video creation or anything like that. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make fashion design and clothing production and making garments a lot easier, and trying to just create a whole new fashion ecosystem. I think this is where the fashion industry is headed. If I don't do it, someone else will, and I'm sure a lot of other people are working on it. But because everybody has such different interests and there's such a fragmentation of trends, it is very wasteful to have the sort of production system and supply chain that we have right now, which is very reliant on mass production, huge batches, long lead times, where by the time you actually get an outfit from the runway to like the stores, it's already out of style because trends are evolving so fast. And I think the future of fashion is mass customization, hyper-localized apparel. I'll explain what all of these words mean in just a second, but I'll just give you a walkthrough of what I've got so far of the site. We do have a Kickstarter running. Backers of the tier, either this tier or above, early access to like the full working version of our apparel design editor by April at the latest. It might be out earlier than that. As you can see, we've made a lot of progress. So I'm really excited to share that with you. Okay, so let's jump right into it. What's your dream outfit? Let's make it exciting. So it takes you to this page right here, which is our editor's portal page. You can pick from a couple of different garment categories right here. So we have everything from socks to full dresses to just basic shapes like spheres and sausage shapes. And we have tote bags, different types of hats, scrunchies. So a lot of different accessories, clothes, basic shapes. We have those as starters so that you don't have to really think about it too much. You can jump right into it. We will in the future support imports of your own designs if you want to make a whole different category of outfit. If you want to really just make a completely different silhouette, you can import patterns that fit the freesewing.org standard. Flow 3D pattern files, Marvelous Designer. We want to support imports from all sorts of other more advanced software. If you really want to work with that, we'll allow it. Another thing that we are working on is our 3D sculptor. This is not coming out in April. This would probably come out later next year, but it's a 3D sculpting tool. So what you can do if you want to just create like a unique silhouette all on your own is you'll see your avatar. You can enter in your measurements to resize it and sort of just like drag and drop the cloth to just shape it. So you can see that I'm pulling the sleeves out to make them puffier and just dragging them to really, let's make the neck skinnier so the collar is straighter. So we want to make it just really easy and intuitive for you to sculpt the shape of your outfit. And one thing that we are really prioritizing is making it easy to transport designs from one size to the other. So you're sculpting on your own body, which is shorter than average person. But let's say that you want your friend to be able to wear your design, who is maybe like a tall, skinny person. So what this editor will let you do is, bam, same outfit on a totally different person. Taller, skinnier person, but like you can see that the shape is preserved. So we want to just make it easy to make every design, clothing design, as universal as possible without any extra work, just universal sizing in one click. So that's our 3D editor. That's a little bit further down the line. As you can see, it's a little bit primitive and it needs some work. You can change the views so that it's more transparent, so you can see where the garment is relative to the body. That makes things a little easier to see, especially if you're working in white. So that's a 3D editor, which will also be out. Going back to the main page, you can see there's a lot of other links which I'll go through, but let's go through the 2D editor, which will be available in April. So you can start with any garment category that you want. So let's do slip dresses, because I know those are all the rage these days. Okay, so the first thing that you do is select what shape variant that you want. We only have one shape variant for the slip dress right now, which is the cowl neck slip top that comes up to your mid-thigh. We are going to have a lot more by April. We're going to have V-neck necklines, we're going to have midi hem lengths and maxi hem lengths, and we're going to have a lot of different variants. Right now we only have one. We'll also have pictures for each one of them, but shape is the first thing that you can customize. Next is sizing. So we have a couple of different ways that you can make sure that the outfit fits you. First, easiest is if you know that you fit a standard size really well, you know that you're a perfect size 2, then this is going to be easy for you. All you have to do is just click on the size. You size 4, size 2. Freesewing.org standard sizing size table just loaded into this. It has a pretty wide range. Standard sizing is pretty easy to select. However, if you know that you do not fit the standard sizing mold well at all, you can start by picking whichever size you think that you're the closest to, but then go in and tweak it right here. And how you do it is you look at the diagram, you see where the measurement is, it's flashing. Courtesy of the creator of freesewing.org, I just modified the aesthetic a little bit, but you can just see where you measure it and have a friend measure you if you can, or have somebody else do it, because the measurements are a lot more accurate if you have somebody else do it for you, if you can. So what you can do is go into the text box and change it. So let's say you're 40 inches around the chest. You can do that. You update and save the measurements, and you can see it just got a lot wider around the bust. So this is great because a lot of people do not fit that cookie cutter nested mold that the fashion industry has defined for us. I've had so many people tell me that, I'm kind of mostly a size 4, but I'm like a size 7 around the hips because they have very wide hips and into the rest of their body. So we just want to make it so that anybody can find an outfit that they feel great in, or just not find one, but get it made for them. You can also tweak the sliders. It'll just give you a quick sanity check to make sure that you know that where the measurement you've entered corresponds to on the standard sizing scale, so that you can double check, yeah, that sounds about right. Around the bust, I'm closer to a size 7. Everywhere else, I'm a size. It gives you a sanity check, so you can also adjust it using the sliding scale over here. If you are confused about a measurement, for example, you're like, chest measure circumference. I thought that was called bust circumference. Either open up the wiki by pressing the I button. This is the freesewing.org. We are adopting their standard starting now. They'll give you some quick instructions on how to take it, quick tips, common mistakes. If you still have questions, you can open up the chat widget, which I'm really excited about. It'll take you straight to our Discord channel for measurement help. So it's loading right now. And you can ask a question is chest circumference the same as what they usually call bust circumference? And then I'll be there answering questions, or me or somebody else once our team expands. And you'll get an answer hopefully pretty soon. So that's measurement help. You can, of course, from here also access our other channels, but it takes you straight to the measurement help channel. Okay, there are a couple of ways that you can measure yourself. We recommend just getting one of our starter toolkits. You can, back in our homepage, we have a link where you can say shop kit. It'll give you, there's a bunch of starter kits for sewing. We're also going to have a starter kit for measuring with a measuring tape and a notebook where you can write in your measurements and just a hard copy of things. So that's what we recommend. If you have a printer at home, print this to scale. It'll give you some instructions or logo. You can cut it out. You can print a bunch of them out and tape them together if you're measuring something that's longer than a foot. Does this have a metric? We'll have a metric one too, soon enough. We also, back in 2020, when I started working on this a little bit, we were exploring 3D scanning because the new iPhone Pros and the iPad Pros had come out with new LiDAR scanners in the back cameras. So that seemed very promising to me from the perspective of making measurements easier, just 3D scanning somebody. I also tried the front-facing camera for scanning your face to make custom fit masks. Was not accurate enough. I wasn't happy, but I have heard good things about how this technology has become better over the last couple of years. 3D scanning might be on the table. If you have an iPhone Pro or an iPad Pro, anything that has a LiDAR camera in the back, you might be able to use the Measure app, because I heard it's pretty accurate with those, and measure like linear measurements, like arm lengths and stuff. Circumferences, you're gonna have to do it the old school way. So different options for measurements. Again, try to have somebody else measure you. I also heard that you can like just walk into a Nordstrom, make a stylist appointment, and get your measurements taken that way for free. Don't quote me on that. That's measurements. Oh, one more thing. Once you've entered in a bunch of your measurements and you click update and save, it'll give you a little notification here that says, here's your body code, download it. Oh, this is face code because it used to be for masks, but it'll give you a code. If you ever return to this site, as long as you have this saved, you can enter that code into here and it'll load your measurements again so that you don't have to enter it all over again, so you don't lose your measurements. We'll also in the future let you just make an account. If you make changes, you can see that this is just a history of the previous measurements, so that if you mistyped something and you entered it, you just have a saved version history of your work. So we will, of course, keep adding features, but here's what we have right now that we're gonna be. So once you have a basic outline that fits you, you go into materials. So depending on what outfit you picked, we will generate things like linings, facings, collar pieces. We'll take care of all of that. This slip dress happens to be reversible. So back and front, back, front. You can turn it inside out and wear it the pink side, or you can wear it the red side. It's reversible. What you can do for the materials is go in and pick what fabric you want. We have these are the ones that we have in stock in the back room, basically. So it'll show you a preview of how the color combination looks. That one's pretty. I like that one. It'll tell you the pricing. This pricing is not totally accurate right now. Here's something cool. If you enter, so you see there's a symbol over here with the printer. Some of them have a slash through it, means you can't print things. This is not you can't do textile prints, but some of them are printable. If you pick something that's printable, you can go to the next tab and it'll let you add some designs so that you can get it custom printed. So you can auto-generate some things. We have a couple of different options, and we'll add some more generative designs with different colors, and we'll let you tweak the size of things and just make some adjustments right on here. Here, let's see. We have some grids, some just basic generative things. It's bubbles. So ugly colors. So another thing that you can do is add your own art. This is a feature that we're still working on. We will allow you to upload your own print and just place it on here, but currently we have a little bit more of an involved method, which we have the instructions right here. You can just check it out. The steps are: first, hit download, open it up in the SVG editor of your choice. That can be Adobe Illustrator, Inkscape, whatever you want. So let's do Illustrator first. So I'm just dragging a bunch of stuff around. I'm making a design on my dress, essentially. It's very beautiful, I know. Okay, beautiful. I have my design. I'm gonna select it, go inside of layers. This is what I just drew. It's labeled path. You wanna make sure it's inside of the editable group. Put it inside of printable design if you can. Just drag it and drop it so that once you upload it back into Novoloom, it'll just take whatever is inside of the printable design group, and it'll read it and it'll register it as a print on your garment. You can do that for all of the pieces. Just gonna save it. Yeah, just click Save As. You'll see a window over here. Instead of link, hit embed, press OK, close it out, and then re-upload it back into Novoloom. And you can see that your design is now in Novoloom. and we can print it for you. So that's how graphic designers and artists can use other tools to make their art and get it put it on their outfit. We'll make easier features like just dragging and dropping pictures, but this is what we have for now. I'll show you a design that I made more recently. Here's an outfit that was made more recently. I spent a lot of time designing this in Illustrator. It's actually a self-portrait of me upside down. It's reversible, so if you turn it inside out, you'll see these shapes on your dress, but then if you wear it the other way around, you'll see a face with a bunch of worms coming out of it. So that can be custom printed. We will have a lot more editing tools available in the future. I'm gonna start getting all the features that I made back in 2020 and actually start adding them to this editor and making them more usable. So you can see there's a couple of basic tools already and a couple of different modes that you can toggle and views. So for example, you have a zoom tool, very straightforward and important. You can also use your keypad to zoom in and out. Couple of different modes. You have print editing mode. We'll also have many other tools like slashing and spreading, if you're familiar with that. Cutting up the pieces so that there's aesthetic seams. If you want to have a seam down the middle or have it quilt of a bunch of different pieces, you can do that. You can add pleats. I have a couple of different features. Smooth out the seams, as you often see with princess seams. Adding folds, ruffles. We'll have a lot of different, some of which I'm already done with and just need to add and test. Okay, so once you've decided that you want the outfit, you click add it to cart. We'll fix the images later. It'll show you your total. You can enter your payment information, validate garment. You can add or remove things from your cart over here. So I know some of you nerds are interested in what happens after you submit your order and how we deal with things on the back end. So let me just give you a sneak peek behind the scenes. So this slip dress is what was just submitted. We have like a portal for submitted custom designs. And what this software does that I've been writing over the last few years, and it takes the product that you created and it looks at all sorts of things. It looks at what fabric you selected. It looks at like how much it shrinks, what kind of thread it needs, whether it needs a lining or a facing, if it needs interfacing for collar pieces, if it needs, like, it just sort of turns your design that you've created fairly easily, and it does all of the harder computing stuff of how we turn it into a manufacturable garment. So it makes all these modifications. It figures out what part stitched to what part and whether there's some open seams that need to be closed. And it really just turns it into like a low-level stitch by stitch set of instructions for how to make the outfit. So one thing that it generates is a bunch of files. Everything from print files to cut files. This is a print and cut file all in one. We have just the outlines to nest it. Cover file so that we can generate a map that gets included in the final kit that we give you. It's like a sewing pattern, basically. If you're getting a textile print printed, this is the print file that it generates. Oh, it even generates like a custom size like sticker and envelope because it figures out like what size box that your outfit's gonna need. This only matters in some cases. Most of the time we just fold it up and we put it in the same size box. But we have a couple of different manufacturables that get, let me show you. So see instructions. So there's a bunch of steps before you sew, but once you sew, it takes you to this sort of sewing GPS almost. If you're a consumer of Mosaic by Novoloom, which is like a educational product, it teaches you how to sew your own clothing, you get access to this site. So if you ordered a slip dress kit, you get taken to this sewing GPS where it tells you how to sew the entire outfit together seam by seam, either by hand or by machine. You can see there's these sew by numbers markings that we generate after you submit it. It goes in alphabetical order, starting from A0 all the way to A like 23 or whatever, and then B's and the C's. So you really just sew it in alphabetical and numerical order, and we make it very simple and straightforward. And we have this like interactive app that walks you through it. So you start with seam A. It gives you kind of a time estimation for how long seam A will take by hand. This is if you like literally just zigzag stitch the entire thing. You don't need a machine for this. Time estimates are helpful because I'm very bad at estimating time for things, so this is helpful. You can toggle the sewing mode just like you can toggle the transport mode on Google Maps. So you can walk or bus or drive places or bike, and it'll give you a different set of instructions for each one. Same with their sewing GPS. You can toggle it to machine or by hand. I think machine's a little more interesting because there's more variables if you're trying to learn to sew with a machine. Each step gives you a bunch of settings, auto-generated written instructions, and some critical points where you might need to do something a little bit different. So seam A has both some curves and some corners. It tells you like around which point you have to do something. So sometimes turning on your sewing machine is a little bit annoying. It tells you how to turn, when you have to turn, and like what it's gonna look like once you turn. Again, so there you can see there's a turn near around A20 and A51. See, you can see the turn around A51. See, it turns, and this is all again automatically calculated. You finish. Another cool thing is that it gives you all the settings. So each piece has like a symbol. It just tells you a seam sews piece delta to theta together, and you can see that on your map. It tells you how to baste. What needle type to use if you're hand sewing. Sometimes if you're sewing a very fine fabric, you want to sew with a very fine needle, and sometimes specialized fabrics need specialized tools. Stitch feet. This is a silk slip dress. It means you're going to need a zigzag stitch, and a zigzag stitch requires a special type of sewing machine accessory so that the needle doesn't land on the foot and break. So you need a zigzag foot. It'll tell you that right here. What machine needle you need. You need to sew it with either a 60 or 65. It'll tell you how to change that out if you click on it. This is calculated just based on the fabric type that you picked. If you picked a fine fabric, then it'll give you a fine needle. So it just automatically figures that out for you so that you can save yourself the tears. Stitch length. Different types of fabrics need different stitch lengths. If you're sewing curves, you want to sew a shorter stitch length. It just figures all of that out for you. Your tension setting should be at. Your kit's going to come with the fabric, but it's also going to come with the appropriate colored and weight of thread you need in the fiber type. So, and then each seam needs press your seams as you go. Sometimes different shapes of seams need to be pressed in different ways, and it'll tell you exactly how to do that. So a lot of analysis of the geometry of your seam and the material, which generates the settings, and we just make it really easy for any beginner to get sewing, even a fairly hard garment, because we tell you what the settings are, and that's really kind of the hard part. You also have some links down here below. We have cheat sheets that tell you what the symbols on your garment are going to look like. We have a wiki. It's on Notion right now. There's an introductory manual right here. If you're sewing one of our starter garments, there will be a walkthrough of what it looks like at each point, at each step. So we recommend starting with one of these outfits if you're using Mosaic by Novoloom to learn to sew. We have FAQs, links to our YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Discord chat if you want. We have a sewing chat, and then we also have a virtual space that we're trying out where we want to use it as a meetup space for people to just co-sew and chat and ask questions. Yeah, I will walk you through how we do the nesting step. What this does is it batches all of the pieces in your outfit that are of the same material. And what we do is we pack them together so that we waste as little space as possible. Use an open source tool called Deep Nest. I have this very helpful streaming deck. I do so many jobs at once, so it just helps me like switch between different modes. So once I'm in production mode, I open up all of my production software, which includes an open source nesting app. I import everything that just got downloaded. So you can see a slip dress has 4 pieces. So what we do is enter in the size of the fabric that it's going to be printed on eventually. So this is a sheet. Start the nest. So it packs it as efficiently as possible. Unfortunately, slip dresses, because they are cut on the bias, which means they have to be cut diagonally and slanted this way, slip dresses are some of our least efficient garments. We will do something later on where we allow you to buy extra garments like bucket hat kits and Christmas ornament kits and scrunchie kits and small little pieces that fill up this empty space and give it to you at a discount, just so we're not wasting things unnecessarily. Once it's done nesting, we upload that configuration back into our production portal. Start nest. And it just remaps all of those pieces into that configuration, and it spits out all of the files that we need. We use different machines for different garment type. If you have a textile print and you're using a textile printable material, we just take the file and we print it directly onto the fabric. That's the easiest. We don't do it in here unless you have a black and white coloring book kit, which on either linen or cotton or natural fabric, then I can do it right here on this printer. What we can also do right here is if you have a novelty fabric that's fairly small, for a fairly small kit like this Zimmerman linen silk scrim. These are novelty fabrics. So what we usually do for these is we use an automatic printer cutter to produce stickers, which we stick onto the fabric. Sometimes we do that in batch using a machine that we made, contraption that we made. So that's how we handle more novelty fabrics. Again, we have a bunch of different machines that we use for different kits, and we just take your order, look at the software, looks at what exactly you decided that you wanted for your outfit, and then it routes all of these files to the appropriate machine needed to produce it. So we're trying to make this very efficient so that it can be done at scale. Mass customization of garments. Let's see, I think the nest should be done. You can see that it arranges your pieces so that tightly packed, and it's ready to send to the facility that we use for permanent reactive dye printing, which is the highest quality and best way to print silk charmeuse, which is what this slip dress will be printed on. So yeah, that's a little bit of a behind the scenes of the portal software that we have. I wanted to give you a quick glimpse into the past and future of this company. So this is my portfolio page that I had for which I last edited back in 2019, late 2019. This is all there back in 2019. The vision was roughly the same. 2D editor was the vision, which I reread pretty recently. It was all there back in 2019. And this was the first version, or not the first, but this is an early version of the editor and what it looked like a very long time ago. You can see all the features that I have yet to actually put on the editor that you see live today. And I plan to really move all of these different features that I created to the actual site for you all to use by April. So this is a better version of this is what you're going to be getting if you back the early access to the virtual editor tier on our Kickstarter. You can see there's a bunch of different editing tools and different operations that you can perform. There's even sort of like a little bit of like a low-code textile print generation tool over here. This is just kind of what it looked like early on. This is one of the first outfits that I made that you can actually see hanging all the way back there. You can see everything's nested together, and here's how I created it. This is the very first Sew by Numbers outfit. One thing that I've really wanted to do for a while that I haven't made much progress on is cloth simulations in 3D. So I know in our 2D editor, you can't really see anything in 3D. You have to see the flat 2D pieces and visualize what they'll look like in 3D, which I know is a hard task for most people. I started back in 2019 this virtual stitch tool in Blender using a couple of scripts. It is obviously not very good at all. I don't think this is really my domain of expertise. I have found some cool open source projects that have done something similar since then. So this I think other people have made progress on this, and I am looking for somebody else to help me out with cloth simulation tool because I think it requires much more aptitude and stuff like efficient computing than I have. If you're looking to collaborate with me on this, I'd love to down and chat because I'm definitely looking to expand the team very soon.